Welcome to Coming Home to Yourself, the podcast for high achieving women ready to lead from within. I'm Jagoda, and here we dive into real conversations about confidence, clarity, and emotional freedom. Each week, I'll share honest stories, gentle insights, and soul deep shifts to help you reconnect with the woman beneath the roles. This is your space to slow down, breathe, and exhale, to stop performing strength and start living your truth, to remember who you are beneath it all. Let's begin. It's 11 p.m. You're lying in bed, the glow of your phone illuminating your face. Right next to you, just inches away, it's the person you've spent the last decade building a life with. You can hear him breathing. You can feel the weight of him on the mattress. But as you scroll through your emails or your feed, you feel 1,000 miles apart. And it's confusing because nothing is really wrong. No crisis, no drama, just a quiet sense of distance you can't quite explain. There is a digital wall between you that feels thicker than any physical boundary. On paper, you're the ultimate team. You've built the house, the careers, the reputation. You mastered the math of a successful marriage, the logistic, the schedules, the responsibility, the polished, impressive exterior. But if you're honest, when was the last time you really looked at him? Not at his to-do list, not at his role as a co-parent, not at his function inside the system you built together, but at a human being underneath all those titles and labels. Today we're talking about what happens when relationships slowly become transactional, about the quiet, hollow ache of being alone together, and how to find your way back to the magic of connection. I see this often in the women I work with. You've become professional strangers. Your relationship didn't collapse, it reorganized itself around efficiency. You turned love into logistic, connection into coordination. You prioritize being capable over being connected. And I know this territory personally. I remember a morning that still stays with me till now. I was married, we had our own apartment, good jobs, children, stability. Everything I thought I was supposed to want. And one quiet weekend morning, I woke up and thought appeared. Is that it? Is this all there is? And it wasn't from the ungratefulness, not from lack of love, but from a strange, unsettling feeling that something essential was missing. We were functioning beautifully as household, but slowly drifting apart as two human beings. We stopped checking in, stopped asking, "How are you really?" Stopped updating who we were becoming. And relationships rarely break in explosions, they fade in silence, in busyness, in the lie of later. But life doesn't calm down on its own, and neither does disconnection. Distance rarely starts as a conflict. It starts as neglect, disguised as a responsibility. And what's actually going on when we convince ourselves that managing our family is the same thing as loving them? Then come the unspoken things, the tiny resentment that build like invisible dust. You stop sharing your fears because you don't want to be a burden. You stop expressing needs because competence feels safer than vulnerability. You both stay strong and slowly become unreachable. And then there are children quietly learning what connection looks like by watching you. They don't just hear your words, they absorb your presence, your distraction, your emotional availability. They feel when you're truly with them and when you're somewhere else inside your mind. You see them drifting into screens, into their own words, into a pace that feels impossible to compete with. And you wonder if you're losing them. But often they're responding to the same atmosphere of distance you feel in your marriage. What's actually happening to the frequency of your home when presence is replaced by coordination? I want you to hear something carefully. The distance you feel is not a failure, it's a signal. A signal that something needs attention, not correction, not blame, not panic, just awareness. Because many women try to fix relational distance the same way they solve work problems, with effort, strategies, and pressure. But how can connection respond to force when its very nature requires ease? Connection is not rebuilt in grand gestures, not in expensive vacation meant to reset everything. It lives in tiny moments of turning toward. 5 seconds. That's all it takes. And it looks like pausing when they speak instead of answering while distracted, touching their arm when passing by, asking one real question instead of discussing logistics, choosing curiosity instead of assumption. Tiny moments, but they have a massive impact. And the deeper truth is you cannot bridge the gap with another person until you bridge the gap with yourself. When you live outside in reacting to demands, roles, expectations, notification, you are never fully home. And when you're not home within yourself, you cannot truly arrive in your relationships. Instead, you interact with thoughts about your partner, with mental version of your children rather than the human beings right in front of you. Let me ask you something gently. When did your relationship start feeling like logistic instead of love? When was the last time you felt truly met, not managed, coordinated, or functionally supported, but seen? And are you relating to your partner or managing a role called partner? So, how do we build a bridge? Not by becoming a better communicator overnight, not by forcing romance, but by shifting from control to presence, from management to connection. In my own life, I had to see something uncomfortable. I was acting like a project manager for my family, efficient, reliable, capable, and emotionally unavailable. I was solving problems but not holding hands. Handling logistics but not nurturing closeness. The next time you're with your partner or your child, try a 10-second return. Put the phone down, pause the mental rehearsal, and simply look into their eyes. Not to fix, not to evaluate, not to manage, just to see. Presence sounds small, but it has weight. It softens tension, reopens warmth, rebuilds safety. When you settle your own internal noise, you become a safe harbor for your partner, for your children. You stop being the fixer and become the anchor. You don't need a strategy to love someone. You need presence to notice they are there. And you're capable of connection that feels light, real, and deeply nourishing. You deserve to be seen for who you are, not just for what you do. It's time to stop performing your life and start living it. Because love doesn't disappear, it waits beneath the noise. And if this episode stirred something in you, listen next to the perfection was supposed to keep you safe. Because perfection doesn't only steal your peace, it quietly steals connections too. Until the next time, turn toward, pause, notice, welcome home.
Thanks for listening to Coming Home to Yourself. If this episode spoke to you, take a moment to subscribe and share it with one woman who needs it. And if you're ready to go deeper, come find me on Instagram or Facebook, because this isn't just a podcast, it's a return to your body, to your breath, to your heart, to your own voice. Your story matters. You matter. See you next time.